Good evening, boys and ghouls. You have tuned into the Killer Countdown, brought to you by Backlot 605. Each week, two horror fanatics rank the best that the horror genre has to offer. Grab your popcorn and your kitchen knife and get ready for the Killer Countdown.
Welcome to the Killer Countdown. I am your host, Casey, and I'm here joined in studio for the first time in a very long time for today's Ghoul-tivities with my co-host, Blake Ginnathan.
I'm back.
He's back in the studio as the studio is torn apart in shambles right now as I'm working on a remodel, a much-needed remodel.
Much like our plans to reboot, your room is getting a reboot.
Yeah, let's talk about it. Since you the cat's out of the bag, let's talk about it right here at the top of the Killer Countdown. We are working on a pseudo reboot of this podcast. As you know by the title of this, I'm just going to call this Neve Campbell's and Talks to Join Scream 5 because we're just talking about the news today.
Okay.
And that's the biggest news article I think that we got. From now going forward, every other episode we are planning on doing a news update, which is today's episode, and then the next time you'll see us, we will be doing a Killer Countdown. So that'll be coming up. That'll be our schedule until October, the every other episode type of thing. But October will be the final official Killer Countdown. We've been thinking of ways to continue this podcast because, I mean, we could keep going if we wanted to and do every little subgenre of horror and every little nook and cranny, but we figured when we do these countdowns, we aren't getting enough time to just show our love for horror. That's the way I'm feeling.
Yeah, and it's also hard to get all watches and rewatches in as well.
Yeah.
We're not saying goodbye to the Killer Countdown. We're going to bring it back every once in a while, but
this is our final chapter.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean we're done. It's just the title of it.
If anything, like it's the Killer Countdown comes back in 2022 or something.
We'll be back.
So we want to focus more on getting the news out there and dissecting cool updates and we're planning on doing like series retrospectives and director retrospectives, and heck, maybe we might even do some actor retrospectives. Yeah. But we're both pretty excited about this. So we have 5 or 6 of these left.
So we have
like 5 countdowns left, I think.
So we would have June, July, like 6, 7 maybe left. So yeah, we have the next couple planned out.
I think we have them all planned out.
Most of them, yeah, we do. Yeah. This again, you brought up we're running out of things where you got to watch everything to be fully prepared, and I'm finding that really hard with our next Killer Countdown that I'm doing with Andy on foreign horror movies, and we're just doing the last 20 years even, and I'm like, that's a lot of movies to watch, and I can't do that all in 2 weeks to prepare. It's just. Again, I think this is a welcome change. We're welcoming it.
Yeah,
it's going to be fun.
I'm excited.
I'm very excited for this. And again, October, we're going to go big because it's October.
Yeah.
It's the greatest month ever.
If we are able to do what we have planned, it's going to be a very, very, very cool show.
Yes. And either way, it's going to be a cool show.
That's
true. We have something very, very cool planned in October. And again, like Blake said, this ain't the end of the Killer Countdown.
No.
I think...
If anything, it can be used as like a challenge. Yeah. If someone wants like, hey, I want to challenge this guy to a Killer Countdown, then we'll consider it and whip it out. But it's going to be a lot of fun to kind of just get into maybe like ideas behind the genre and like I said, retrospectives and like what we watched and just talk about what we watched.
Yeah.
That's going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah. And again, I think this will give us more time because we do our recent watches every time. And like my list is continues to get longer, it seems, every time we do this, which is all right.
It's not, I don't have a problem with that.
But I want more time to talk about it if we do that.
I do feel rushed through some of those where we have to, all right, well, we still have to do the countdown, which is a good 45 minutes. To
an hour,
So it'll be nice to focus on a lot of that stuff. So
yeah, and again, thank you for joining us, and along with this ride, we hope you follow us along on our next journey on this. And with that being said, there is one final note I want to leave off with. The Killer Countdown, even when it ends, it'll still be available everywhere. It still will be on the main podcast feed. It'll be on our website. With a new name change and format change, it'll still be there, even on the website. This is still, me and Blake will be hosting whatever new concept we come up with, whatever new name, and it'll still be adjacent to the Killer Countdown. And yeah, so it'll always be available. But the new show, and I'm very excited about this.
I'm too.
It's getting its own feed, which I'm very excited about. So no more, if you listened only to certain episodes of the Killer Countdown and you listen to the main backlot show every week, we're not going to be bogging you down with more horror every 2 weeks if you're not into that. So I think it'll be a good separation, because I know horror is a very niche thing, and you know, if someone wants to tune into that, they'll tune into that, and vice versa with the main show. So it'll be a good change again. So we're very excited about this. Very cool.
Looking forward to it.
Yes. All right. So let's get into this episode. So this will be our first news update episode, but like we do every time we join for the Killer Countdown, we talk about our recent watches. And I'm very excited about this week because I have quite a few. You have one that I have seen, which is a series. Do we want to kick it off with that?
Why don't you do one, and I'll pull up IMDb, and that way I'll get ready for mine.
Okay. Yeah, let's see. I have quite a few. I have like 8 on here. One is Sleepaway Camp, and I'm not going to get into it here because you can go check out the main episode of the main show, in which me and Brian, my co-host of the Backlot 605 main show, are joined by Andy from Fat Dude Digs Flicks to talk about the great summer camp slasher Sleepaway Camp. One of my favorite episodes we've ever done, because me and Andy just gushed over it, and Brian hated it, which I loved. I knew he was going to hate it.
It's too bad.
And it was fun.
In our group chat, I mentioned that I really despise it too, but I not despise. I didn't like it, but I really wanted to rewatch it. And after finding out today that it's available at our local store for only $10, I might swing by and pick it up on my way home. But I really want to watch it again, because I've only seen it one time, and I'm so glad I didn't know the twist going into it.
You didn't know?
I didn't know. Okay. I didn't know there was a twist.
Okay.
So when that happened, well, if you've seen it, you'd know. But yeah, I sort of wish Brian had a different response to it. I don't know.
Yeah, this was the response I was expecting.
Oh, okay.
I mean, he didn't know the reveal. He didn't know there was a twist, and because when I brought up Sleepaway Camp, he's like, "What is that?" I'm like, "You don't know what Sleepaway Camp is?" "No, I never heard of it." I'm like, "Do you know the ending?" "Nope, I don't know it." I'm like, "All right, we're not going to talk about it anymore. You're going to sit and watch it and record like the last 5 minutes or whatever." And he did. Yeah. And his immediate response as he looked into the camera as he recorded himself was, "That was stupid." I'm like, there was no wild reaction to that ending. I was disappointed by that, but I was expecting his hatred, because it's not.
No, I was expecting him to hate it. I didn't expect it. I expected him to at least enjoy the twist.
Yeah, the twist is fun.
Yeah,
I think the movie's fun. It's a lot of fun.
I enjoy it. I enjoy the twist.
Yeah, so that was kind of my first one here that I had to throw out. Sleepaway Camp, ton of fun. I love that movie.
Yeah, I guess I'll go through my one watch over the past 2 weeks. Was I finished up Creepshow, the TV show. So there's 4 stories left, 2 episodes each. Honestly, I'm so glad I watched this. Just such a fun show, and they found a way to keep this whole thing alive, or to revive it. Yeah. In a TV show format. And correct me if I'm wrong, but they released an episode per week, right? They didn't just release them all at once. And
No. It was 2 the 2 per week. So each episode has 2 segments. Yeah.
So I think that's a really cool idea. I was fortunate enough to sort of just binge through them, but I loved all of the last 4 stories. I felt like the final story was like the weakest, one of the weakest stories of the entire season, which is where they find like a Loch Ness type monster in the lake. And it makes me wonder, and I thought this, I brought this up before, but I wonder how they decide what goes in front of what, or what follows what, or where in the season, or if they're shooting while they're releasing, or how that works. But I can't see someone watching this and being like, oh, we should end on this story, because I thought the one right before it, Skin Crawlers, was excellent.
Yes, that one was great,
and would have been and like literally ends in buckets of blood, and it just felt like a really fitting ending to the whole season.
Yeah.
And I just
would have swapped the two around.
Yeah,
I would have too.
I would have swapped the two of them around. But I still liked it. I love these little insular stories of horror, and I love like how, because of they only have 25 to 30 minutes, how quickly they get things done, and I really love that aspect, and I cannot wait for season 2. The other one with the monkey's paw was excellent. Bruce Davison just killed it in his episode, and it has a banger of an ending. So it turns into like an Argento movie a little bit. And then the one after with the football field with the zombies was I thought that was an incredible one as well. You weren't so hot on that one.
I didn't. That one and the man in the suitcase were the two. The rest I'm like, I either really liked or loved, and those two I don't know what it was, and maybe I'll have to go. Yeah. Because I'm gonna rewatch season 1 again. Well, I'm starting to right now with Kayla. Yeah. So I'll probably do it then, and maybe when season 2 comes back around here, hopefully soon. I know they've been shooting a lot of it, but I'm excited to revisit some of those episodes again. Since we aren't, this was one that we were planning, and I don't know if we'll do it. Maybe we'll just talk about season. We'll just talk about it now, and then we'll talk about season 2 when it comes out. What was your favorite segment out of this season?
Okay, so I really love Skin Crawlers.
Okay, yep.
The Werewolf Nazis one was great.
It was a blast. Jeffrey Combs as a Nazi leader is amazing.
Yeah, let me look through here. I loved the Scarecrow one.
Scarecrow one rules.
The Finger was good.
Finger's fun.
Gray Matter, the very, very first one was great.
Yeah. First episode is great. That's the best. I think that's the best 1-2 punch.
What was the
Gray Matter and then the head?
Oh,
head of the house.
Yes.
That's the best. That's the best one.
That would be another one. That would be like a top 3 for me. Yeah, I really, for horror, and maybe this is with you too. We haven't. I don't know if we've discussed this. A lot of times, like, I'm willing to forgive horror movies maybe for how bad they are, just because the spirit is so, you can feel the spirit of the people who made it, and so even when, like my friend and I will watch, like, we'll watch movies that were obviously made for like $15,000-$20,000, and they're not good looking movies. The acting's bad, but like we love watching them because you can tell the people who made them just had a blast making them. Yeah, and so I sort of love that about these series, where I can just sort of like kind of throw caution to the wind and be like, I really dug what was being done here.
And they do a lot, because this is a very, very low budget series.
I don't know if I'd say low, but like very low budget. But I mean, yeah, they probably don't have the budget of, say, like a Netflix show or something.
Or even because the Shudder is owned or partners with AMC.
Yeah.
And so I believe Creepshow might be airing on AMC right now too.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, but again, if you compare it to any of those AMC shows, it doesn't have that money.
Yeah.
It doesn't have The Walking Dead.
You're probably talking, these episodes are made for a couple $100,000.
Yeah. And it shows, but there's so much that they do with that I love.
Yep.
Again, the acting and some of them is not great, but again, it's what they're doing with the work.
Right. Well, you can definitely tell they kind of blew their acting budget on like the first episode, and then the one with Bruce Davison.
Yeah.
And that's not like Casey said. That's not to crap on the other acting or actors in the show. Like I for the most part was like really into all these people who are in the show, but it's clear they got like Giancarlo Esposito, Adrian Barbeau, and
Tobin Bell in the first episode. Yeah,
is that who it was? Tobin Bell?
Yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
I thought it was Stephen Lang for some reason. And then Bruce Davison. I think there was somebody else in there too.
What's his name? The guy from The Finger.
Oh, DJ Qualls.
Yes. And he's fun. I would like to see. He seems like a guy that's probably into horror.
Yeah,
and I want to see him do more.
Yeah, he really just gave it us all in that.
Yeah, he did. It's him. It's him the entire episode. Yeah, it's all on him.
Yeah. Well, there's somebody else in there too, but
and maybe Bob is like my favorite thing. He's so much fun. I love Bob.
Yeah. Yes, he is quite the
I think that was like Nicotero's favorite thing on this show was Bob.
Probably.
Yeah.
Yeah, great show. If you
is.
have not checked out Creepshow, highly, highly recommend it.
Yes.
It's a lot of fun.
And I think when we start up our new thing, Creepshow Season 2 recap is in the works.
Yeah, I'm okay with that.
All right. Very cool. Yeah, I'm going to keep watching. We're about halfway through it now because Kayla's just watching it. House of the Head is like, she's like, that's the best one so far.
That is
like,
legit.
That one's great.
It's a legit scary.
It is.
It's super creepy.
And that's a point in which you're like, they're doing so much with so little. It's a dollhouse that, and you move things
in a room.
In a little girl's room, and you're just moving pieces in the house and having the girl talk. Like, that's it.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
Yeah. It reminded me of this movie I saw when I was a kid, and I can't remember what it was called, but it came out in the mid-'90s, and it was like a haunted dollhouse, and it scared the crap out of me.
Really?
I'm going to have to find the title.
Yeah, find it.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, let's get into this. I have quite a few. We'll run through them. First one I have, I'll just go in order in which I watch them. From Dusk Till Dawn.
Okay.
Okay?
Is this your first time seeing it?
No. This is a second or third time. As right behind Blake is a ton of VHS tapes that I got for free from someone, and they had a bunch of horror titles in it. And one night I was just like, I gotta just find something to watch, and I was looking through those, and From Dusk Till Dawn popped out. I'm like, I haven't seen this since high school, I think.
Yeah.
And I popped it in. I love this damn movie.
Yeah.
I love it so much.
It's a lot of fun. I sort of wish they wouldn't have revealed the twist in the trailers or anything, and I like when I tell people like, oh, what's From Dusk Till Dawn about? I'm like, well, it's about these two guys who they're murderers and they're serial killers, and they take a woman hostage, and that's all I'm going to tell you.
Flee to Mexico.
Yeah,
that's it.
And unfortunately, the cover art sort of gives it away too. Yeah. But I sort of wish they would push it as like a thriller or something,
as a Tarantino movie,
because otherwise you would not like, the twist is not
set up at all.
No,
it just happens.
It just happens. Yeah.
I can't remember the first, because I know the first time I watched it was at a buddy's house, and he's like, "You gotta watch. You ever seen this?" I'm like, "No." He's like, "You gotta watch this." I can't remember if he told me it was a. Can we spoil it? I don't know. You want to spoil it?
Yeah, I mean,
spoilers from Dusk Till Dawn if you have not seen the movie and you're listening to a horror podcast. It's a vampire movie.
Yeah.
And I can't remember if he told me that or not, but what he told me was the first half is a Tarantino movie, the second half is a vampire movie. And I'm like, yeah, that's and watching it this time, the first time I watched it, I'm like, the vampire stuff is the best. It's bonkers. It's crazy. This time watching it, I'm like, I love the first half. It's great.
I love the whole thing.
I do too now. I have more of appreciation for the first half.
Have you ever listened to the commentary track for this?
No.
Oh my god, it's
who's on it?
It's Tarantino and Robert Rodriguez, and so Tarantino. Well, Tarantino has a blast doing this commentary. The part of the movie where the son gets eaten and bitten and whatever, Tarantino just starts going off about how they had more balls than Schindler's List, killing the kid. It's so silly because he does this Tarantino thing where he's screaming to high heaven about how great they are, and it's the funniust thing. Yeah, you have to check it out. It's so funny. Will. I love this movie. I've not seen the sequels yet.
Neither have I.
I've heard they don't stand up. Yeah. But one of my favorite actors, Robert Patrick, is in one of them, so that might get me to watch it. But yeah, I mean, Harvey Keitel, Juliette Lewis, George Clooney before he became the George Clooney
George
we know.
Clooney's really good in this movie.
Yeah.
I wish he would do stuff like this.
Tom Savini is in it.
Yeah.
Fred Williamson. There's so many great actors in it. I believe the band that is in the movie also did some of the music for Kill Bill Volume 2, but I'd have to confirm that before
I think this is my favorite Tarantino script. I know you're I'm not as much of a Tarantino guy.
Right, yeah.
I think this is my favorite. I wish he would do more genre stuff like this.
Well, that's okay. You
know what I mean?
I don't want to litigate Tarantino's career on a horror podcast, but I'm glad he's not doing more stuff like this personally, but I get what you're saying. Like it's a very gritty.
Tight.
A lot of great lines of dialogue. Like, what's the one that George Clooney says where it's like, I'm gonna keep you as a slave for eternity, and he goes, no thanks, I was already married. Like, just stuff like that, And then the opening scene at the the gas station is incredible. Good. Yeah. Who's the cop in that? Is it Michael Parks?
Yes. Yeah.
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 It's so great.
I love when he shows up. He's so good. Yeah. God, I miss him. So that's I love this movie.
Yeah. I need to rewatch it.
Yeah. Next one on here, My Friend Dahmer. Not really a horror film, but it's horror adjacent.
Is this the Zac Efron one or?
No, that's the Ted Bundy movie.
Oh, okay.
Wrong serial killer. Okay. This is what's the guy? Some Disney guy, Ross Lynch. I never watched. This was when I was getting out of Disney when this kid was coming in, and he plays Jeffrey Dahmer, and it's about Dahmer's high school career.
Okay.
It's not great. It tries to do this. It doesn't really make you sympathize with him, but it just shows this little aspect of his life, this 1 year period of him in high school, and how he sort of formed friendships but couldn't. Alex Wolff from Hereditary plays his best friend. He's great in this movie. I wish he was Dahmer because this kid's great, and we'll talk about him later in the news. But yeah, this movie just doesn't do a whole lot. It ends with him picking up Dahmer's first victim, and that's where the movie ends. And I'm like, I don't want to exploit that stuff, but I'm like, that's probably the more interesting story to tell in a film because it doesn't set up anything really for what this guy does too much.
I have not seen this movie. The one thing that I can maybe gather that what it's trying to do is showing maybe that there's no the hope is lost for some people, getting some sort of social awareness or being able to get friends or for others to gather empathy for them, and showing how some people get lost through the cracks. And that's the only thing that I can really fathom maybe that the movie's trying to do.
And what it feels like a little bit is like the first half of, I don't want to compare it to this because it's better than this, Rob Zombie's Halloween, the first half where it kind of sets up his home life, his social life. Yeah. This kind of does that and then just ends where Zombie goes into full Rob Zombie mode in his Halloween movie. But yeah, I can't really recommend it. Alex Wolff is great in it.
Yeah. He's great.
He's a good actor.
He's going to be someone someday.
Another one I watched on Shudder, Shudder original, not the Z that you were watching that I thought we were going to talk about.
We will talk about that on a different show.
Yeah. Go check out Criterion Break with Andy and Blake.
Please.
I just realized the other day that rhymed.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's fun. I like it. This movie sucks.
Wow. Strong words.
It's not a good movie. Basic setup is basically... this kid has trouble. He's probably 9 years old, second, third grade, whatever. And he's trying to develop friendships with kids at school, and he just can't connect with them. So he makes up this imaginary friend and starts hanging out with him and playing with him in his room and stuff. And then creepy stuff starts happening in the house. It's later revealed that this imaginary friend is very sinister and is actually after the mom, because it was her imaginary friend when she was a child.
Whoa, that sounds awesome.
It's not.
I'm going to watch this now.
You should watch it. Man, there was so much potential in this movie, but it takes all the cliche moments. It's just beat by beat a cliche movie. Yeah. There's a point in which creepy stuff is happening and the mom sees something somewhere in the house and she confronts her husband about it and she's like, there's weird stuff happening around here. I can't explain it. And the husband's like, I'm glad you said that because the other day I saw this and this in the house, and it pauses and it's dramatic, and then he's like, I'm just kidding, and I'm like, F you. Every movie does that. I want a movie where both parents believe what's going on.
Sure.
That's more interesting to me.
Sure.
There's a great moment in the movie where the kid is drawing his imaginary friend, and it's this giant mural on just covers an entire wall, and it just builds this dramatic zoom into it. I'm like, oh my god, is the monster gonna come out of that? Is this gonna be a drawing come to life? That would have been cool. It doesn't do anything with it. This is a high not recommend for me. Z. Go watch Insidious instead.
I'm still gonna check it out, I think.
Yeah, check it out. I can't recommend it, but people may find enjoyment out of it.
Yeah.
But I don't know. We've talked a little bit about Insidious, because that's what it reminds me of the most. Insidious is a lot better. But.
Yeah, I guess it remains to be seen for me.
Yeah.
But, I really enjoy Insidious. So.
Next to I have a Mike Flanagan double feature. Watch his first film, Absentia.
Yep. His first
horror film. I haven't watched his other stuff. I don't know if his other stuff was just like student work or what. If it was ever theatrically released or if it's available anywhere.
I guess I always assumed Assumption was his first movie.
It's his like first horror, but I think the other ones are kind of dramatic work. If his IMDb is correct, I'm not sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, Absentia. This is I believe he funded it on Kickstarter.
That sounds right.
GoFundMe, one of the two. I think it's Kickstarter.
Like $30,000 or something.
Yeah, it's super low budget, but god damn, this guy does so much with that.
Yeah.
And it's what, 2 locations? It's a house
and a street,
and a street, and then a tunnel.
Yeah.
And so basically, the setup is that this woman goes to live with her pregnant sister who just lost her husband 10 years ago, whatever it is. And the woman is pregnant. She got pregnant from a cop that she was hanging out with, and they developed a cute little relationship. I liked it. But the sister comes to live with them, and the sister is a former drug addict.
Right.
And she's just going to help her pregnant sister get through the pregnancy and help her out with the baby and stuff. But just down the street from them is this tunnel that these homeless people like to sleep under. And it is notorious that homeless people will disappear in this tunnel.
Yeah.
And then one day, the woman is running through there, and she runs into Doug Jones, who's a homeless man. And she says sorry or something. She almost trips over the guy, and he's like, "You can see me? You can see me?" Like it's something like people cannot see these homeless people, I guess, in this little tunnel. And then a few days later, the ex-husband, the husband that disappeared from the pregnant sister, shows back up, alive and well, and everybody sees him. Mm-hmm. And man, this guy can do so much with so little. Yeah. I love this movie.
I think it's still my favorite Mike Flanagan movie, like to this day.
After watching it, yeah, it's definitely. I think it's in my. I after watching this, and I would say the next one is probably my least favorite of his, and it's still a solid 7 out of 10 for me. You know?
Sure.
But man, this is not a. And after watching it, I watched it with Kayla, and she's like, I don't like that one very much.
Yeah,
because it's not a horror movie. It's a drama with it's a drama with supernatural elements.
Yeah, I mean, but that's what
and he does that so well, though.
He's so good at it, creating these real life people and these real life situations, and then sort of extrapolating their fears into a horror setting. Yeah. But
he seems like a guy that he'll watch dramas, but he'll get bored, and he's like, "Why isn't there a ghost in here?"
Yeah, I think he just understands suffering, and he understands humans and their pain, and he's able to, like I said, put that into a horror setting and make you really empathize with the people in the movie.
And if I don't want to speak out of turn here, but I think Mike is a former alcoholic.
I don't know.
I believe so, and there's elements of that in a lot of his movies.
Well, in that case, that really takes Dr. Sleep to a different level. Then.
Yeah, I think that's what he really connected with it in that movie. And yeah, this has definitely elements of addiction, and there's a lot of underlying themes in this movie. Yeah, highly recommend. It is on Shudder right now. Oh, I'm glad they picked it up. The other one I followed it up with was Origin of Evil, Ouija. So Mike's prequel to Ouija from 2014, I think that one came out.
Something like that.
Hot pile of garbage movie. Somehow, so this movie, I love this movie. I saw this one in theaters, seen it probably 2-3 times after. This is Mike probably at his most angry. He seems very pissed off in this movie. At what? I don't know, but it is one of his most dour ones. Because everything he's done after this has pretty happy endings for the most part. And again, I believe I heard this on a podcast with him and his wife. This was like right before he met his wife, I think, or right when they were starting to date, and I think that changed him, which works. It's good for him. I'm glad. This is a fun movie, just a fun PG-13 thrill ride. Kids, like if you're in that teenage age. You're going to dig this one a lot. Like, it has genuine scares, fun character stuff. It's not going to bore you with anything, and that's my biggest thing about it. Like, PG-13 horror movies I find really hard to do, to capture both horror fans and the general teenage audience, and this movie does that for me. And it sucks that this movie did not make any money, unlike the first film, which is the reason this one got made. Which is crazy. His movies don't make any money. I think his highest grossing yet is I want to say it's
I was
Oculus.
going to say it's probably Oculus,
Yeah.
yeah.
You don't like this movie, do you?
It's all right.
Yeah. I think it's my least favorite of his.
I would probably
But I like it.
agree. This and Hush are probably my least favorite of his movies.
I dig Hush.
But I'm of the. Maybe we should do a retrospective on Mr.
On Mike?
Flanagan.
Yeah.
We can get into a little bit, but I don't dislike any of his movies, but I don't love any of them. And I've
Is Haunting a Hill House like?
Yeah,
That's I think
okay.
that's,
Well, I don't count it as a movie.
It's not a movie,
but
no.
That's the best thing he's done.
Yes.
And so as far as like a 2-hour time limit or time limit, well, I mean like like a 2 to 3 hour window, like I've yet to be knocked out by anything he's done. And then that's not to say he's not a great director, because he is, but like I'm just waiting for him to just blow me away. And I think maybe a rewatch of Dr. Sleep might do that for me.
When's the last time you watched Oculus?
Oh, when it came out.
I think that's the last time I watched the movie from beginning to end. Was
Oculus
in
is good.
theaters.
And the short is great too, if you haven't seen the short.
Yes.
The
Mirror is in every movie he's done.
Oh, seriously?
Yeah, it's in Absentia too.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Origin of Evil, there are stuff that I really admire about it.
It's heavy on the CGI, which I don't love.
Yeah, I guess that didn't really bother me that much. The scares are really good. He's able to get performances out of kids that I feel like most directors would like just dream of. He's very good with kids, and I've said this before, but he just like, I feel like he has like 12 actors on a Rolodex. And he's just like, all right, I'm doing this new movie. I have this part for you. Yeah. And then,
what does he call? He has like a little nickname.
Does he? Okay.
Like the Flana-Fam or something.
Sure.
Yeah.
And like, Henry Thomas from E.T. is one of them. And like,
this is kind of the start of that. Is when they're all kind of all together. Like,
yeah.
Because all four of the main actors in this are
exactly
in other stuff, other Flanagan stuff.
And like I thought, after E.T., Henry Thomas didn't really do much, and then he did Gangs of New York with Martin Scorsese, and then I was like, oh, he's still not doing much, but now he sort of had like this, and maybe that was his choices too. I don't know, but he's been so consistently great in all these Mike Flanagan projects, and that I'm just singling him out. It's everybody, it's the, I don't know her name. It's the mom in this one. She's also in Haunting Hill House, and she's so great in that as well.
She's really good in that.
Yeah, I mean, Flanagan it's like you find people you trust, and you keep yourself you keep yourself surrounded by them, and it's worked out very well for him. He gets these really grounded, realistic characters that really make you feel for them and the story and their plight.
Yeah, if you haven't seen Origin of Evil and want a fun like Saturday night midnight movie, this is a lot of fun.
This with the last Annabelle movie would be a lot of fun together.
Annabelle Comes Home.
Yes.
Yeah. I dig it.
A good
or either Annabelle.
A good 3 hours scary haunted house movie.
That's like if you have like teenage kids and you're like, what movie should we get them to watch with a bunch of friends? Like those two are. Yeah. I think Annabelle's rated R. It doesn't need to be.
The newest one?
I think all of them are.
Yeah, I don't know.
And it's just because the first Conjuring was rated R, and they've just stuck. Yeah, they've embraced the R rating.
Yeah, nothing wrong with that.
The next one I have, we can briefly talk about it. Blair Witch. So the third Blair Witch film, the Adam Wingard directed film.
The Woods.
Let's talk about this movie.
Yeah. I'm curious to hear your thoughts.
So when this movie was first announced, it was called The Woods, and I remember the poster vividly, and I had seen
the trailer too.
And I remember the trailer, and I want to say I had seen The Guest and You're Next. I had for sure seen You're Next. I'm like, yeah, the guy that's doing that is doing a found footage movie in the woods. I dig it. I'm in. And then Comic-Con is when it was announced, oh no, it's a Blair Witch movie, and it like blew up. The internet blew up because of that. I wish they kept the title of The Woods, because if I was going to go watch this movie in the theater already, and it still would have made probably the same amount of money it made with this, because horror movies didn't cost very much, and you throw a found footage movie in theater, it's probably going to make money. I would have loved the experience of going to watch the movie The Woods, and you see the opening sequence, and the guy's like, that's my sister Heather. She got taken by the Blair Witch. And I'm like, what? That's a Blair Witch movie? That would have been a fun experience. We didn't get that.
Some people did.
Yeah, at Comic-Con is when they
Well, there was a screening or two before
Oh.
that where they said,
It's the woods.
it's called The Woods. Yeah, come see the movie The Woods. And when they got there, they all had to sign NDAs that you can't
God,
tell.
that would have been wild.
Wouldn't
I
that
would
be-
have
wouldn't that be
loved
nuts?
that.
Yeah, and so yeah, they couldn't say anything, otherwise they'd be sued. But so they kind of did that. But I take it you didn't like this movie.
No, so I watched it in the theaters opening weekend because Blair Witch Project is one of my favorite movies, period. I love that damn movie.
Yeah.
And we'll talk about some of the other. I'm getting into like the expanded stuff of Blair Witch because there's a bunch of books and stuff. And I'm like, I want to read those. Those seem like fun. But this does nothing for me. I don't know what it is. It feels absent of what made the first movie great. And for what makes the first movie great to me is the urban legend stuff. You don't know what's going on. There's like 5 different stories in that movie of what could be happening. It could just be going crazy. One of them could have gone crazy and killed the other ones. There's the Rustin Parr locking kids in the corner thing. There's the actual witch. Like, there's so many different things that could be going on. And then this movie just doesn't add anything. I wish it would have added another, like, here's a new urban legend that happened. This is what happened, and why they disappeared. But yeah, I liked some of the stuff. I like that there's drone footage.
Did not like that.
I didn't like. I like that they wanted to introduce newfound footage stuff. They didn't fully embrace what they could have done.
It's a very small part of the movie. I think.
They don't do a whole lot with it. I like that when they hold the camera backwards, you can see the witch in the background. That's fun. That's really fun. That's about it. I don't love this movie, and I wish I did. It disappoints me.
I don't love it either, but I do like it.
I don't hate it.
Yeah, so the stuff that really gets me, like like if a horror movie wants to scare me, is when it plays with reality, and Grave Encounters does this, and I believe the original Blair Witch does this too, where all of a sudden it's just permanite. Like the clocks don't work. You never know when it is. It's always nighttime. They can like I believe, isn't there a part where they just decide to walk and then they wind up back in the camp that they just left or something?
Yes.
So there's
a point in which in this movie where there's 2 different groups. And one of the groups takes off, the guy and the girl that are from Burkittsville, and they take off and they leave. And they come back and they're like, where have you guys been? We've been out here for 2 weeks. And they're like, it's been a day. We just saw you yesterday.
Yeah, I love stuff like that.
Grave Encounters did it better.
Yeah, I do like the last half hour where they get to the house.
It's fun.
And there's a big storm happening, and the witch is chasing through the house that, I mean, it's got to be covered in asbestos or something. Yeah. And I love,
I like that in this one they go upstairs instead of into the basement. That's fun.
And you mentioned that they hold the camera backwards and they can see the witch. Does that make?
I think you only can see the witch in reverse.
Okay.
Is the way I interpret it.
Okay. I have another question then. Does it also mean that the witch can't attack them when they can see it? Was there something like that?
I think so, yeah.
Okay. So I really enjoyed a lot of that stuff where they're in that room and, they constantly like, turn the camera around. Yeah. I dug all that. And
again, I like it doesn't show the witch outright either. It's just you see a glimmer of...
I kind of wish that you could see more, but that's neither here nor there. I do love when the girl escapes down through the ground and she's crawling. She's crawling through that hole that's getting smaller and smaller and smaller. That is terrifying to me. That
me of The Descent.
Stuff like that really gets to me. But I enjoyed all that stuff. I like the movie. I'm not going to sit here and say it's like the rebirth of horror or anything, but it's fun. I think, like you said, if it hadn't had the weight of the Blair Witch name attached to it, I think I would have enjoyed it even more.
Yeah.
But because they're trying to, for some reason, capture lightning in a bottle again, it doesn't work. And that's the thing is, like, these people who make these movies, they're not out there to capture lightning. They're out there to make a movie, and they just happen to find something in the zeitgeist that really hits. They're not trying to make it, and that's what I think people don't understand is, it
felt like they were trying to make a Blair Witch sequel.
Right. And
more
I think
a movie set in the Blair Witch universe, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I think their wad got blown by renaming the movie and then having like some false promotions.
Yeah.
When they should have sort of just
Kept it as the woods.
Went all the way, and then like you said, halfway through, it's like, oh, that's my sister. She was killed by the Blair Witch Project. Imagine imagine being in the theater, and you're like, what?
He could have just been, because they're all friends in the movie. He never calls her Heather, and it's just, my sister went missing all these years ago.
Yeah.
And you show up, and all of a sudden one day they're sleeping out, and you walk out, and there's the stick figure. You imagine that halfway through? That would have been wild.
I mean, you already got the rights to name the movie Blair Witch. Why not just go all the way with it? To me, that just is not trusting the audience.
And again, what makes the Blair Witch Project so great is the marketing behind it.
Right.
These people went missing. This is real is real footage. We set up a missing persons website.
Yeah. Those actors literally just kind of stayed out of the public eye.
Disappeared for a while. Yeah. If they would have done that with this, where it's just, this is just a movie called The Woods, and it's a found footage movie. That's it.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, halfway through, you realize this is a Blair Witch movie. Like, that would have been in line with what the first movie was doing in terms of marketing.
Yeah, you're never going to be able to beat what the first one
but do
did.
Something different.
Right,
and that would have been different.
Right.
I think revealing the title was a bad choice.
Yeah, it was. I agree.
Do you feel with this movie, and we can do a whole Blair Witch retrospective at some point.
I need to do
we
a
need
rewatch,
to talk about Book of Shadows.
Oh, I love Book of Shadows.
I love Book of Shadows. We'll talk. I'll leave that question for when we do that. The next one I have on here is the Scary Stories documentary that just came out last year, right before the movie came out. It's about the book series Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark.
Oh, okay.
It's on Tubi right now. It's on Amazon Prime. I can't really recommend it, even as a fan of the books and the film. It's kind of it feels like a fan-made documentary. Hey, we're fans of this and we want to talk about it. They interview the son of the author, which is fun, but they don't interview anyone else. They interview librarians and fans of the books, but I'm like, you don't learn anything else behind it, and if it doesn't feel like there's a narrative it's trying to tell, it's just, hey, we love scary stories, and we want to make a little documentary about why we love it.
Yeah.
So it was fine.
All right.
Yeah. If you're not a fan, if you're a fan of the books, I would say watch it. If not, it's a pass. Last ones I got here. I've been catching up on The Last Drive-In with Joe Bob on Shudder, and I've gone back to work at my part-time job. That means my Friday nights are taken up, which is when this airs. I watched the first week live, and that was a blast. It was so much fun, like tweeting along and watching with other people.
Is he doing it live?
No.
Okay.
Yeah, these are all have been pre-recorded because he has guests on.
Sure.
It's a ton of fun watching live. If you can watch it live on Friday nights, that's the way to watch it. But I've been catching up just like in the weekends after, and I binge watched the last 2 weeks. And usually if I watch the movie, I'll watch the first 10 minutes and then kind of fade out or whatever. So I watched Brain Damage for the first time. Is
this with the two Bills?
What's that?
Is this with the two Bills? Bill Paxton and Bill.
No.
What am I thinking of?
Anyway. I don't know. Brain Damage. Yeah. From the director of Basket Case. This movie is pretty wild. It's a pretty wild movie. It's all about the heroin 80s. Reagan's Just Say No, and it takes that to the extreme. This guy gets this little monster that looks like a penis, like a black penis, and basically the thing will eat brains, and then it'll go inside him, and that's like his drug, and he'll see lights, and it's euphoric for him. That's pretty much the plot of the movie, and it beats you over the head with, hey, this is anti-drug. But it's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun. Perfect Joe Bob movie to watch. I would recommend Brain Damage. It followed it up with Deep Red. I watched like the first 10 minutes because I had watched this like twice in the last couple of years. So I didn't watch too much of it. There was no guest on it, so I didn't want to stick around to see him interview anyone. This last weekend, as we're recording, he had Lloyd Kaufman on.
Okay.
And the Trauma film they played was Trauma's War. You ever seen this one?
I have not seen it.
So this is Trauma's version of a Rambo movie. And it's people from Traumaville have crash landed on this like remote island that's like taken over by communists. And it's just this ragtag group. Some are rockers, some's a doctor, one's a Vietnam vet, one's just like some dude. this is like the most tame Troma movie I've seen, and I wish it would have gone bonkers. It's not bonkers enough for a Troma movie. It feels just like a blatant ripoff of 80s action movies, which sucks. But having Lloyd on the show is a lot of fun, just because I like hearing Lloyd Kaufman tell his crazy stories.
He's a wild character.
He's a wild guy. He's like, we made Troma's War so they could give it to the army and use it as a training video. I'm like, and he kept saying that too. I'm like, that's hilarious.
Yeah.
And he stands by it. He's like, this is what the army shows to recruits.
I feel like Lloyd Kaufman is one of the true punk rockers of film.
Yes.
I don't love everything he does, but I respect him for just sort of being like the everyman or like.
What I didn't know about him, the guy went to Yale.
I'm not surprised by that. He seems like an intelligent person.
He is a very smart dude, but yeah, he's weird.
Yeah.
And I think that's what sets him apart from everybody else that would go to Yale.
The fourth Toxic Avenger, Citizen Toxie, is incredible.
I've only ever seen the first.
Yeah, watch
Toxic
the fourth
Avenger.
one.
Yeah.
It's a lot of fun. The DVD comes with a second disc, and it's a 2.5 hour documentary on how they made Citizen Toxie, and it's basically like a behind the scenes look at just the lunacy of them making a movie, and it's you get the sense of like not only of like irresponsibility and maybe caution being thrown to the wind, but like also like the spirit of making movies. Like there's people who like they'll come from across the country to be an extra in the movie or help make the movie
and not get paid.
They know they're not getting paid. They know that they're getting a free t-shirt.
Yeah.
They know that they're getting, food as their payment. Yeah. And it's just stuff like that. And you like
he talks about that on Last Drive, and he's like he has people that go to conventions for him. They don't get paid, and they'll get a movie out or a t-shirt, whatever it is, but they don't get paid out.
Yeah. And I don't love Troma as much as other people do, but I still, what I've watched, I'm really into. Like I love the Class of Nukem High series. I've not seen the recent stuff, but the first three that came out in the mid '80s and early '90s, I love the spirit and how they're kind of like maybe like playing to a lower denominator, which I know a lot of people don't like, but I enjoy from time to time. And so it's cool that he is still out there, just sort of like swinging his guitar around and trying to hit people with it still. I love Lloyd Kaufman.
Yeah. I mean, if you're going to watch a Troma movie, I would say you got to watch it with friends.
Yes.
That's the only way to watch it.
Yeah.
He followed it up. I don't get these double features. I wish I knew who was booking the double features for Joe Bob, if he's picking them or what's going on. Because they don't really line up. Like, I wouldn't put Brain Damage and Deep Red back to back.
Yeah.
Same with this. He played Troma's War and then One Cut of the Dead.
Well... Okay,
I guess
let's extrapolate on what I just said.
Okay, yeah. Okay, I guess if you take that the spirit of filmmaking, which Lloyd like encompasses, that's him.
Yeah,
I guess that makes sense with One Cut of the Dead,
and especially low budget too.
Yeah. So I watched about the first 20 minutes again. I watched the movie part of it, and then I fell asleep. And then this morning I watched his little speech at the end, and you kind of were listening to it too.
Yeah,
I love that. That speech was great. It was fantastic.
Yeah. It to me that's like a call to arms.
Yeah. And he's like, what I took away from it, he's like, people aren't gonna watch it. I'm gonna watch it. I'm Joe Bob. I'll watch any.
Yeah.
And people watching Last Drive-In are gonna watch anything.
He also says something that really stuck with me was, he goes, what did he say? He said we don't know that we needed your movie until we saw it because we didn't know it existed. So make the movie, and that's so true. Like. Throughout, being my life, being a big fan of movies, a lot of the movies that I'm looking like that end up being my favorite movie of the year are ones I didn't even know existed until 2 months before I saw them. So,
One Cut of the Dead.
Yeah,
I didn't know it was a thing until people were like, "It's on Shudder. It's fantastic."
Yeah.
Loved it.
Yeah, it was a great like rally cry for, and I don't know if he did it. I don't know the context of why he did it. Maybe it was because he had Lloyd Kaufman on and he showed One Cut of the Dead. Maybe it was because this is recorded before the pandemic, wasn't it? Okay. So yeah, I mean, I thought that was an amazing thing for one of cinema's great historians to do. Yeah.
And I gotta say, if you're not watching The Last Drive-In, like that's something like right now we all can't watch movies together. But if you watch The Last Drive-In, you're watching the movie with people.
Yeah.
You're watching it with Joe Bob. You're watching it with everybody else that's watching.
I think that's kind of the point of what they're doing.
And I love it.
Yeah.
Again, they didn't plan it this way to have it come out during the pandemic. This is when it was scheduled, but I think it's perfect timing. Everybody's home, and that's a super fun way to watch movies together.
Yeah.
And I think that's something missing that we don't get a whole lot of anymore, where you have like a horror host or any type of host, and in between segments of the movie, they're coming in with trivia and giving their insights, and it's not Mystery Science Theater 3000 or
there's a love for
Riff
it.
Track,
Yeah,
where they're poking fun of it,
which I'm okay with.
I'm okay with, but and they're showing those type of movies. But this is like Joe Bob knows stuff that other people just don't know.
Yeah,
he's a very, very smart man.
Yep.
So yeah, the last couple ones that I got on my watch list, just briefly, just to mention them. I've been watching some TV. We've been watching Simpsons Treehouse of Horrors. We watched like the first 7, I think. Ton of fun. I had watched these off and on when growing up and stuff. Yeah. We watched the Shinning episode. That was one of the ones that we watched.
Probably one of the more popular ones.
Yeah. Another one we've been watching, and we're like a few episodes from the end of this series, Erie, Indiana.
I've heard of it. It came out in the 90s, right?
Yeah. A 90s kids series, basically a kid's version of The Twilight Zone. And I love these type of things because for some reason, the only horror I was exposed to as a kid was books.
Okay.
And I grew up on like Goosebumps. Yep. And this feels like the television version of like that. So yeah, if you're into like the Goosebumps or Are You Afraid of the Dark, Erie, Indiana is like right up that alley that a lot of people don't talk about unless they watched it as a kid. And there's a lot of people that you will see later on, like the kid from the main kid from Hocus Pocus.
I've never seen Hocus Pocus.
Okay,
so.
he's the main character. Joe Dante writes and produces a lot of the episodes.
That's cool,
which is awesome. It's a ton of fun. If you haven't watched Erie, Indiana, go check it out. Perfect show to watch like with your kids. That's on Amazon Prime. Last thing, I'm reading. I don't read a lot, but I need to read more, and that's something I'm going to try to keep doing. I picked up a couple books of the Blair Witch things we've been talking about. One of them's the Blair Witch Files, which is basically about the character of Heather who disappeared in the first movie. This is her cousin is visiting people who have similar experiences. So I'm on the first book of that, and they're fun. They're a fun read. So. All right, that's all I got for recent watches.
Cool.
That took like an hour.
That's cool. No,
I'm
happy. I sort of like this whole thing. I mean, this is a good test drive for what we're going to plan on doing. So,
and I mean, this is only 2 weeks of stuff. Like that's, yeah.
I'm glad you can hold up that part of the show.
I got you. All right, so let's get into the news. That's what we're doing in this episode. An hour in.
Yeah.
Why not? Let's jump into it. So, do you want to start with the big news of the week, or save that one for last?
That should be the last, I think.
Let's just start at the top then with what we got. We got a Mike Flanagan double news feature right here after we talked about him. Mike Flanagan is adapting Stephen King's Stephen King's revival.
I was rewriting it for my Google Doc, and I said, Stephen Kong, that's a new guy.
Yeah. Stephen Kong. Yeah. Revival. What is this, a King novel?
Yeah, I believe so.
Do you know what this is going to be on?
Huh?
Is it a series that he's working on, or what?
I thought it was a movie.
We'll have to look.
Yeah.
I've never read this.
Neither have I. It sounds interesting. It has to do with like a kind of like a traveling circus, like a
sideshow.
Not a sideshow, but like a guy, like a traveling like tent show. You know, he does like really spooky, weird stuff. But
where is it? It's not even on his IMDb right now.
Oh, it's breaking news, people.
Breaking news.
Well, we've sort of gushed a lot about Flanagan already tonight, and so I mean, it's nice to see interesting work being put into capable hands, and I don't foresee Flanagan screwing this up.
So here's what I have pulled up. It's a 2014 Stephen King novel. And it looks like, let's see, the adaptation focuses on the King novel. The book is described as a dark and electrifying novel about addiction, fantasy, and what might exist on the other side of life.
So basic Stephen King stuff.
Yeah. And that's a cool cover.
Yeah,
very cool
it's
cover.
very cool.
It doesn't say if this will be
a series or not.
Let's continue reading here. It doesn't really say. It says it's attached to Warner Brothers, but do you think Warner Brothers is ready to take on a big thing, a King Flanagan combination after Dr. Sleep failed?
That's on their end, right?
Yeah, that was on their end. That was completely on them. I hope they do.
Yeah, I mean,
release the movie in October. Damn it!
I hope it's a series because I love long form Stephen King visual stuff.
Mm-hmm. And Flanagan's great at series. He's working on Haunting a Hill House 2, Midnight Mass.
Sounds like that's kind of right on schedule too. I think
Haunting a Hill House, yeah.
The second one,
yeah.
So
I think they're done. I want to say they're done shooting, and he's probably editing right now.
Yeah, and he edits his own stuff too. Yeah.
Which I'm hoping comes out yet this year. That would be great.
Yeah, because as we said, the first one was fantastic.
The second Mike Flanagan news that we got. Mike Flanagan and Leah Fong are turning Christopher Pike's novels, The Midnight Club, into a Netflix series. I never read this.
Neither have I, but I'm just excited for more Flanagan stuff.
This seems like something he's probably writing, producing. He probably won't be directing this. Maybe the pilot.
My assumption is he's just going to be involved on a producing level.
Yeah. And I've never read this. I've read other Pikes, but not The Midnight Club. This seems like a Goosebumps, Fear Street type of thing.
Well, and if that is a series, I'm gonna really enjoy that.
Yeah, I think that's one thing I've been like craving for is we need more like kids horror, and we haven't got it because 90s is filled with it.
Yeah,
we haven't had any. I don't know what the last kids horror thing is. And Goosebumps, I think like the two movies is too kid friendly. I want more like the preteen stuff.
I've only seen the first Goosebumps, but I thought it was excellent.
It's fun,
and I wish it was a little scarier.
Yes, that's what I'm trying to get at. Yes. And I've heard the 3-part miniseries Nickelodeon put out of Are You Afraid of the Dark is fantastic. I haven't watched it.
Is it out?
I haven't. They did a 3-night event in October, and I heard it's fantastic.
Oh, I'm going to have to check that out.
I want to check it out. Next piece of news, and this one took me by surprise, and a lot of people, because we didn't know what was happening. Equilibrium director Kurt Wormer is currently filming a new take on Stephen King's Children of the Corn in Australia. Where did this come from?
I don't know.
And why is Kurt Wormer directing?
Is it Kurt Wormer or Kurt Wimmer?
Whatever.
Okay.
This schmuck.
I'm okay with that.
The guy who did Equilibrium and Ultraviolet.
Yeah.
A previous episode of the Backlot Main Show, Equilibrium. Go check it out.
I'm not terribly excited for this.
No. I don't think he's a very good director.
I thought Equilibrium was fine. When
was the last time you watched it?
2000.
Whenever it came out.
Yeah. But
so I watched it. It was, I don't know, 8 years ago, and I'm like, yeah, this movie rules. It's better than Matrix.
Yeah.
It's not great.
No. I don't want to relitigate what you guys discussed. The first Children of the Corn was okay for me. Nothing special.
I think it's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
It's not great. None of them are great.
Yeah. So, I mean, I'm always open for a reinterpretation of something, but Kurt Wimmer seems like an odd choice.
Yeah.
But who knows? Maybe
would have just been like, give it to Mike Flanagan. Just give him every King thing we got to do.
Give him everything. How about that?
If King can pump out a novel every 2 months, Flanagan can pump out a movie or a series every 2 months. I'm not excited about this. I love the first Children of the Corn, and you kind of have to. From Iowa, we had that and the Crazies for horror, and that's all we got.
And it was shot there too, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was shot. Right. Sioux City, I believe, is some of the stuff is shot in Sioux City. Yeah. Man. I've never watched any of the sequels. This might be something I want to, just because
I want to as well. But I'm a little.
I've seen. One of this, I think I've seen one of them was like the third or the fourth one. I cannot remember which one. Remember nothing about it.
Yeah. There's like 6 or 7 of them now.
There's a lot. Yeah. There's as many of these as there is Hellraiser sequels.
Is it the same thing with the Hellraiser series where they have to keep making them to keep the rights?
Yes, that's what it is.
Yeah.
And they're because again with Hellraiser, it's like we're gonna keep making these shitty straight to DVD ones because one day we'll make a great Hellraiser. This is the same thing with Children.
Speaking of which, since we sort of like decided this after all the Hellraiser news, let's pivot to the Hellraiser stuff before we forget about it.
Go ahead.
So there's a new movie in the works.
Yes.
By the director of The Ritual, which I wasn't too hot on, but I know a lot.
I like it.
I know a lot of people really, really enjoy it, and I think there's a lot of stuff in there.
David Bruckner.
Yeah, a lot of stuff in there that was very good horror like filmmaking. So I'm not totally down with it, but I made a joke to our group that boy they better not water it down, and you. You found
like the next day.
The next day, you found a tweet that he put out, and he said, "Don't worry, I'm not going to hold back." Yeah. And instantly, I was like, "Yes, he understands that for this to sort of like exist and be successful, it needs to just go in on what Hellraiser is, and it's just full on disgusting body horror filmmaking." And so I'm super excited about this. Not only that. HBO is working on a television series or miniseries or something based on the who wrote it? Jeez, what's his name? I can't think of his name. Clive Barker.
Yeah,
on the Clive Barker stuff. So HBO sort of knows no limits with what they want to do or can do in terms of violence or graphic content. So again, the promise is there with what we could get each week with a different Hellraisers thing. And David Gordon Green, who is currently working on this new Halloween trilogy, he's an executive producer, I think, or he's writing something like that. So it's a good time to be a horror fan right now.
Yeah, I think what we're going to continue to see is the simultaneous horror on TV and horror in the theaters.
I think what's
because Child's Play is doing it.
Yeah,
they're working on the Don Mancini original series as a television series, and they have the new remake, whatever.
Right,
and I think they're going to continue with that.
Yeah,
and again, Hellraiser's doing this.
Yeah, I think what's happening is you're getting a generation of filmmakers who grew up in the '80s and maybe like the early '90s who like just loved the genre, and now they take it seriously enough.
Yes.
That like they're not going to come in here and be like, yeah, I'm going to make this schlocky thing with all kinds of gratuitous nudity and stupid horror stuff and the typical horror tropes. They're taking the content seriously. They're taking the scares seriously. They're taking the stories seriously, and like a lot of studios are giving them the budget to do so.
Yes, and I think it's very different from when we got these back in the late 2000s, early 2010s. All the remakes. Because those felt all very lifeless. Like the studio says, hey, we have this property. We just got to do something with it.
Right.
Now it feels like we have this property. We don't know what to do with it. You like this. You're a great director. Let's bring you in to do this.
Right. And they're giving them money to do so.
Yeah.
I'm excited.
And I think every studio is looking at Halloween 2018 and how great it did. Fans loved it for the most part.
Right.
And made them a ton of money. And so I think every studio that owns one of these properties is looking for that now.
Yeah.
And again, we'll talk about it with the main news piece that we got here.
Yeah.
I think that's very much a part of it.
Yeah.
Next piece of news that we got, Disney Plus is turning R.L. Stein's Just Beyond comics into a horror comedy anthology series. Again, what I was talking about.
Yeah.
With kid stuff.
Stoked for this.
Do it.
Yeah.
Because I was looking through the Disney catalog. Disney, again, in the 90s, they were putting stuff out that was borderline for kids.
Yeah.
So I would like to see them push that edge. I don't think they will.
No. But who knows?
It'd be cool if they did.
Yeah.
We get our first look at Art the Clown in Terrfier 2.
Really enjoyed this picture.
Yes.
Did you like the first Terrfier?
I love the first one.
Yeah. I mean,
I think I put it. I would have to go back and look at our list. I'm pretty sure I put it on my top 10 of the 2010s.
Oh, okay.
I love this movie. It's so much fun.
Other than one sequence in Terrfier, I thought it was a really fun, terrific movie.
Which sequence?
Where he cuts the woman in half.
Oh, I love that. It's a little.
It's a little. It's
a little much.
It's a little violent, a little far.
Yeah.
But inspired nonetheless.
Yes.
Having said that, I really, really enjoyed Terrfier.
And again, I think Art the Clown, like immediately after that movie, everybody saw that movie on Netflix. It was like, this is the guy, this is a new great horror icon.
Yeah.
Like, immediately.
Yeah.
Which we haven't had in a while. We've talked about that before. It was Jigsaw was all we had, and I'm glad we got something else now.
Yep. So I'm excited for this. He's covered in blood. It's awesome.
I can't wait. I think this movie has a little more money, which is cool. I want to see what they can do with it. We got our first trailer for the home invasion thriller Becky, starring Kevin James, Lulu Wilson, and Community.
Joe McHale.
Joe McHale. This movie looks terrible. Did you watch the trailer?
Yeah, I did.
Doesn't look good.
Well, I don't know. It's not for me to say whether it looks good or not.
No, that is your job on a movie podcast.
Okay. I think it looks a lot of fun. The trailer is wild. Like, it's this. It's this.
Kevin
like,
James is like a neo-Nazi in it.
It's like this serious like prison escape, home invasion, and then it switches over to like this girl like
Home Aloneing.
Yeah.
Kevin James.
Yeah, and
I think that's what the movie is.
Right, but it just felt like immediately the tone switched, and it was like, is this a Home Alone trailer? And I couldn't tell.
You could see Kevin James in a Home Alone.
Yeah.
You could pull off the Daniel Stern.
I'm not a big Joe McHale fan, so I'm not looking forward to having to spend an hour and a half with him. But I'm all in for Nazi Kevin James.
I like Joe McHale. I don't think he can do swarmy asshole very well, which I think he probably is.
He did that movie with Eric Bana like 7 or 8 years ago, Deliver Us from Evil or something.
Was he in that?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, he was his partner, and he was okay in that. But I tend to agree that he's sort of not great at the whole.
You know who he reminds me of, and they're very similar, is Glenn Howerton. And he was in The Hunt. How was he in The Hunt? I didn't watch that yet. Is he fine? He's not a very big role in it.
I'm not a big fan of Glenn Howerton.
I like him.
Yeah. You know who Joe McHale reminds me of is that dude who's in is it Carbon Copy or Altered
Altered Carbon?
Yeah.
Oh.
What's his name?
Joel Kinnaman?
Yes. Those two remind me of each other.
Yeah, but Joel McHale is talented. He's not. Not throwing shade at Joel Kinnaman. But I like Joel. I like Community. Did you watch Community?
No, I never. Okay. No.
I love Community.
Yeah.
So that's.
It never looked interesting to me, but.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
this movie doesn't look good.
It doesn't look good, but it looks fun.
Yeah.
And
seems like when this goes on Prime, I'll watch.
I think this is going to be like a big talking point when it comes out. Like a lot of people are going to talk. I think
it's going straight to video. It's not going to theater.
Not only that, but like people still love Kevin James. Yeah. I mean, his.
We had a whole "Here Comes the Boom" conversation.
His fandom, his fandom doesn't go away.
I don't know what it is.
Yeah, no, he's just this big lovable teddy bear, you know, and he drives around on scooters all day long or Segways, yeah.
I'm not a fan of Kevin James. So.
Neither am I, but I think I'm gonna watch this and see how deep he goes. Yeah. If this is gonna be like John Travolta levels of Fanatic, or if
he can pull off this is his Uncut Gems.
Yeah, maybe
this could be his Uncut Gems.
Yeah, Uncut James.
Next piece of news: Hereditary actor Alex Wolff is in talks to join M. Night Shyamalan's next thriller. This makes sense.
Yeah,
too much sense, I think.
Yeah, this is almost like too on the nose.
Yeah,
but it's fine.
I want him to play like Shyamalan in a movie about M. Night Shyamalan, written and directed by M. Night Shyamalan.
I don't know if I want to see that, but I'm looking forward to this, whatever it is. I think
Shyamalan's back in a little groove, and I dig it.
I was just gonna say the same thing. I think he's hurting. Even if I didn't think Glass was very good.
No,
but like Split was great. Yes. I think Split's like top 3 or top 4 for me for his movies. So but he's starting to just discover like his mojo again, and I think he's starting to like go up with his with what's happening. So I'm really excited to see.
It's feeling like like M. Night went through the phase where he's the next Spielberg was the big thing with him.
Yeah, which that is a valid comparison.
I dig the guy. I do dig the guy, but when he's bad, it's bad, and I don't know what's to blame for that. And I think there's numerous things to go in there. Yeah. He kind of became a studio guy, and I don't think you need to put M. Night in a studio thing.
No,
he doesn't work in that realm because he's too weird.
He has his own ideas.
Yes.
Yeah.
The thing that I love about M. Night is he doesn't know how people talk. He doesn't understand human conversation. And I think that works really well. especially with kids.
Sure.
And to have Alex Wolff, he's not a kid anymore, but to have him doing M. Night dialogue, I think is going to work because this kid dials in every time.
Yeah.
And I dig it. I have no idea what it is. I know M. Night's working on like 5 movies right now.
He always is.
I don't care.
Yeah.
I'm in. I'm in for it.
Yep, I'm there.
The Visit was fun.
It was all right. Yeah.
It was fun.
It was all right.
Again, Glass is a terrible movie.
I don't think it's terrible, but
it's so M. Night that I loved it.
It's
not a good movie.
Well, yeah, I didn't.
But it's so much fun. I loved how much it was M. Night.
Yeah,
I just love M. Night movies.
I think why I didn't like it as much as I wanted to is because it felt like he was creating this awesome universe and then he just destroyed it right away.
It pretty much felt like, yeah, that's what it felt like. And then at the end, he's like, yeah, I don't like this universe. Done. I'm done with it.
You know what it is?
It's stupid.
It was like a kid who got new toys and he's like, I'm done playing with
bored.
these toys.
I'm bored.
Yeah.
He created this great universe with the end of Split, which is a great ending.
If you really think about it, maybe he planned a trilogy the entire time too.
Oh, he did. Yeah. The character that James McAvoy plays was originally in his original script of Unbreakable.
Yeah. Well, and of course Sam Jackson brings it full circle and all that stuff. Yeah, I mean, Glass is a fine failure, but
I had a blast watching it.
Yeah, I think I did too. Actually, I think I'm just more disappointed that it ended more than anything.
Yeah.
It really played against my expectations of what I thought was going to happen.
And I think that's what he's going for.
Yeah.
That's why I like that one so much.
Yeah.
The one that I want to go back to, just because I haven't seen it in a very long time, is Lady in the Water, because I think I'm going to have a new appreciation for it.
I love Lady in the Water.
Yeah. It's getting a lot of love in recent years. So. Man.
Yeah,
I have to rewatch that one.
I really enjoyed it when it came out. Like, really enjoyed it. And I rewatched it again at home, and I don't know, like a year or two later, and I really liked it again. And I was like, all right, I'm gonna revisit it like 10 years later, and I did. I had a blast. Okay. It's super scary. It's bonkers. There's a scene, you've seen it, right? Yeah. There's a scene where this guy is like, this is a part of the movie where we're supposed to run away. And you're like, who is he talking to? And you realize, like, in a way, he's sort of like critiquing his own movie. Yeah. And
it's based on like a story he wrote for his kid, like a bedtime story he would tell his kids.
And whether you think it's like like M. Night's grown this big ego and is doing.
I'm fine with that.
Like name somebody else doing something like this. Like there's like, I mean. There's so many quirky characters in the movie. Paul Giamatti's great. Yeah. When they go down into the pool and through that tunnel, like, that's really good stuff. And yeah, I don't know. I think Lady in the Water is a fantastic piece of fantastical filmmaking.
Yeah, I haven't watched that since I was first getting into Shyamalan.
Yeah,
that was a while ago.
I'd be curious to hear what you think of it.
I'll have to rewatch Lady in the Water. I do. We'll have to do an M. Night.
Oh, I'm in.
I love him because he's
a very singular.
He's him.
Yeah.
There's no one else like him.
Yeah.
Next piece of news in the television realm: Silence of the Lambs sequel project Clarice is getting a series pickup order from CBS.
I'm always very wary about stuff that's coming out decades after.
And again, this was just the title I took from it. Maybe it's not a full sequel to Silence of the Lambs.
Sure.
Maybe it just takes place after what happens in that.
I wonder if Ridley Scott is involved.
I hope not.
Because he sort of was at one point. And
Again, I don't know how much CBS is going to go there with some of the stuff. What did Hannibal air on?
NBC.
Okay. So if they... Again, but that was... When was Hannibal airing? Saturday nights, I think?
I don't know.
I think it was on like Saturday nights or something, like when no one was watching.
I haven't seen Hannibal, but I hear they went all out.
I've seen like 1 or 2 episodes here and there, and yeah, they do. And again, maybe if they gave the creative team from that over to this, maybe, but I don't know who's behind this.
I can't see full blue-blooded conservative hoorah U.S. Army CBS going full gore out with this. So.
Yeah, so we've had Hannibal, we've had Clarice. Where's our Buffalo Bill series?
Yeah. I don't know.
I would watch the hell
Maybe they'll
out
get
of
Mark Harmon or Ted Sollick to be in it. It'll be like a weekly series where they're in Hawaii or some bullshit.
I'd watch the shit out of that. Yeah, I'm
cautiously optimistic about this.
I don't watch television as much as I should, especially horror television. So there's just
too much to watch.
There's a lot to watch. But again, it's like I don't have cable, so I'm not going to be able to watch it weekly anyway.
Right.
So I'm going to have to watch it when it comes out.
Right.
The full season. So, yeah, I think it could be cool. Depends who they cast as Clarice. I don't know who you'd put in that right now.
I think you get like a brand new person.
Yeah. Last couple pieces that we got here. Friday the 13th just celebrated its 40th anniversary. Big 4-0
40 years old
for Friday the 13th. One of the greatest franchises in horror history. Our first episode of the Killer Countdown. Funny how that works. This first film, I rewatched it here a few months ago. I think it got better for me in this rewatch.
Yeah.
It's a lot of fun. A lot of things again set up that I dig. One thing I really love about any horror movie, I think it really helps with my personal enjoyment of them, is urban legend stuff. And the urban legend of Jason set up in this is a lot of fun.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's a fun movie. I prefer some of the sequels over it.
Oh, I do too.
And but we've
talked about that.
It's interesting how this propelled. This came out of nowhere, and sort of like set up this series that was annual.
Yeah.
I forget which. Did they take a year off at some point or not?
In the 80s?
Yeah.
I think there was 1 year in there.
1 year.
I think so.
1 year. So in the 80s, you either got a Freddy Krueger movie or a Jason movie every single year. And you really don't get that anymore unless you count the Saw series. But it's pretty incredible how this little low-budget movie just set the world on fire and created this.
Well, yeah, look at it now. You show someone a hockey mask, they're not thinking hockey, they're thinking Jason Voorhees.
Right.
And that's great. They literally changed an already iconic image of a hockey mask related to a sport, and now you don't think of the sport, you think of a machete-wielding serial killer at a summer camp. That's pretty cool. Again, like you mentioned, they were pumping out one a year. What's taking them so long? I know they're in a legal debate right now, trying to figure out who has the legal rights to the Friday the 13th name. So I think once that gets figured out, whoever wins is like immediately after that case is settled, they're starting production on something.
Yeah.
So I'm excited to see where this franchise can go because it's just putting kids in a summer camp and having a hockey mask killer kill them. That's it. That's all you have to do.
In really fun ways.
That's all you have to do.
Yeah.
Yeah. Last piece of news that we got to talk about, and I'm excited about this one. Scream 5 is in production with the directing trio. There might be 4 of them. I don't know how many are in this. Radio Silence, the guys behind.
I thought it was just 2 of them.
It might be just 2. I think it's a rotating group that they have.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but I know there was, because when they did VHS, there was at least 3 or 4 of them.
Okay.
It might be down to 2 now.
Okay.
That are in the directing. But I think there's 3 guys writing.
I just went off of what Ready or Not had for directing credits, and there's only 2 of them there. So,
but I think the 3rd guy is still writing or producing.
Okay.
He's under the Radio Silence.
That's so cool that those guys do that. Like
that's
they
cool.
work like that. Yeah.
But yeah, they're behind the project of Scream 5, which is in the early stages of pre-production right now, and it is rumored that Neve Campbell is returning for this film. I don't think there should be any rumor about it. I think you don't do this movie without her. Especially with what I hope they're playing off of.
What do you think they're playing off of?
The first one is just playing off slasher movies. Second one is sequels. Third one's trilogies. Fourth is reboots. This is going to hopefully be, we ignore everything that happened in 2, 3, 4. And then 5. So this is going to be like a direct sequel to the first one. Or playing off that in a way. Like Halloween. Halloween 2018 is, I think, the template.
Why would someone take that course?
I think because that's the model horror or slasher movies are going.
So you think they're gonna poke fun at that idea?
Yes. I don't think you're gonna have them forget anything that happened in 2 through 4.
It's gonna be like, oh, do you remember that one time?
Yeah, I think they're gonna just poke fun of that.
Yeah.
I think Matthew Lillard's the killer in this. I think that might be the reveal. I think that would be awesome.
How would that work?
He never really. I don't think they ever show him fully.
Oh, it was.
He had the TV. He had the TV fall on him. He could have survived that.
Yeah.
He's technically in Scream 4, which we talked about.
Yeah.
He's a background character. People have wanted him back. In I believe the original script for Scream 3, the Kevin Williamson one, it is Matthew Lillard. So there's things you can bring back.
And Matthew Lillard sort of had like this little bit of resurgence lately.
And he gets it.
Yeah. I'm for all of that if it's done correctly. I love this series. And I know we've talked about how much like 3 like really lags in terms of quality behind the others. I still love it. I think it's a fantastic movie.
I've only watched it the one time. I think that one I'll have to go back.
Yeah.
I think I'll have a new appreciation.
I think you will. I hope Kevin Williamson comes back to write.
I think he's at least on for producing.
Okay, perfect. I trust in that sense then.
I can't imagine Radio Silence isn't like, you want to just write this for us or with us?
I assume that they've asked him already. Yeah. And whether he has said yes or no is, we just don't know that yet. I love the Scream series. I don't even know why I don't own them at this point. Yeah, I mean, if you want to talk about, like, we talked earlier about how, the Mystery Science Theater versus Joe Bob, like, Scream lovingly looks back at the horror genre as a whole, and you don't think so?
No, I was just going to say you can compare Scream to Scary Movie, where Scary Movie's the Mystery Science Theater, this is the Joe Bob.
Sure. Yeah, and so, like, it's fun to watch people who love the genre sort of, like, poke fun at tropes, but, like, still exploit them as well. And I
think the first Scream is one of just the best pure slasher movies ever.
Well, it's one of the best horror movies ever made. So I'm stoked for this. Yeah. It really sucks that this pandemic is happening right now, because you're like all this exciting news, and you're like, well, gotta wait till they actually shoot it, which is, and then they gotta edit it, and you're probably looking at 2022 before this even comes out at the earliest. But yeah, I am so stoked for this. I mean, as far as I'm concerned, bring them all back.
Yeah.
Bring David, bring Courtney, bring Matthew. Who else? God.
Would you want them to bring back some of the kids from 4?
Yeah.
I think I would too.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
That's where I think we got to go with this, because... Yeah, again, I love this series too. I think they are very smart. The problem with 3 is during 3, I believe there was like a writer's strike going on or something, but Kevin wasn't on that one.
Yeah.
I think he might be given he's either given story or some credit on it.
Well, I'm sure he's given story credit because it's based off his original screenplay.
Yeah, but I don't know if he has the written by
it definitely felt like Scream 3 was someone who was just trying to like imitate what Williamson was doing without getting the brains involved. And that's all, with all due respect to that writer. I don't know who it was, but Scream 3 is obviously the lesser of the series. But
it's a very New Line movie.
Yeah, it
even
is.
Complete with a giant Silent Bob cameo, which I don't like.
I remember.
And I like those movies.
I remember
I don't think.
I remember seeing that in theaters and being like, I have no idea who these people are. I was like, I have no idea who these. And then I saw Jensen Bob and I'm like, and then I was like, are those the guys from Scream 3?
Who put in this random cameo from those guys from Scream 3?
I'm stoked for this. Piggybacking off of what you said earlier, I really think a new Scream movie could come around every 10 years and sort of like, if the right person was writing, could really skewer what horror was doing for the last 10 years. I'm really I guess we kind of got this a little bit in Scream 4. I'm surprised we haven't gotten, someone has to have pitched this, a Scream found footage movie. Someone has to have pitched it. I'm sure someone has. I mean, I think it's a little late to do that one now. It's too late now. No, let found footage have its revival in 20 years and then do something like that. Then do the Scream. Yeah. For this one, like I said, I think it's just a fan thing where I want Matthew Lillard to come back. But I do think in this, I don't think it's out of the realm of possibilities. I do want them to have that iconic Scream opening where you kill someone off. I think you have to kill Courtney Cox or David Arquette. I think you have to. And I love those two. They're not the main focus. I get a little, I'm not sick of them, but I'm like, I get it. Kind of like, just fuck already. You know, yeah, I'm like, just either bang or die. Yeah, like, yeah. One or the other, okay?
And again, those two aren't together anymore. David's doing his wild own thing, and Courtney. I don't know what Courtney Cox has been doing.
I don't know.
She had a TV show for a while. Yeah. I don't know what she's doing now. But I think you have to take one of them out in the opening of this.
I think it's got to be Dewey.
I think it has to be David.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I think that's the one you got to do is you got to kill Dewey right
Yeah.
now.
Yeah. I can't say enough. I'm so excited for this movie.
And again, like I said, I think that's what they'll probably play off is the Halloween, where Neve Campbell is this paranoid badass. And she's not going to take no shit anymore.
I don't know if I want to see a full-on like Halloween take on it though.
No. I don't think we're going to get gray hair Neve Campbell with a booby-trapped house.
Right.
But I think she will definitely be more of like, I'm prepared for this.
But we got that in Scream 3.
Yeah, but no one likes Scream 3.
I like Scream 3.
We talked about that.
I like Scream 3.
Yeah, but with the Halloween movies, we've gotten that with her too. Halloween 2018 is a light remake of Halloween H2O.
Sure.
So again, written by Kevin Williams. Which again, if you slide that instead of Scream 3, I like that better. I dig Halloween H2O. It's one of my favorites. But yeah, I'm excited to see where this can go.
Me too.
Yeah, this is gonna be a lot of fun. What do you think about the Radio Silence guys taking it on though?
Hesitantly optimistic. Okay. Wasn't a big fan of Ready or Not.
Okay, I loved Ready or Not. So yeah.
I didn't like Ready or Not very much, but it's clear that they have a love for genre filmmaking and the tropes and everything. So there's already a plus for me. Mm-hmm. You know, they're not bringing in like, Paul Thomas Anderson, who
I would watch a
PTA
Scream movie.
That was a bad. Like you're not bringing in Doug Liman. You're
not bringing in Kurt Warmer.
Yeah. You're not bringing in someone who's like, oh yeah, I think I could pull this off. You're bringing in somebody who loves the genre. So and obviously knows the history and the relevance of the series enough to probably take it seriously. So I'm excited that these guys are doing it because I know that they care.
Yeah. And I think they fully understand what shoes they have to fill.
100%.
Because you're stepping in. This is Wes Craven's thing. Like this, he directed
arguably the greatest horror director of all time.
Yeah. That's big shoes to fill, and I think the studio is like, that's I don't know who we would get to step into because I think they understand how big Wes Craven is in the horror circle, and I think if you get a group of guys like this, I think that's the way to go.
That can get testy. You have ideas.
Yeah,
too many ideas.
But I think with them, they understand. I think they understand how they each work.
I definitely hope so.
As a team.
Yeah, I'm excited for it.
I am too. I'm very excited. I hope this as soon as this pandemic thing ends, we can get into production on this. I can't wait. So yeah, that's all I got for the news. You didn't see anything else? I think we covered most of everything that we had in there.
Yeah, no, that's all I watched. Yeah. Yeah,
I think that was about it. So again, thank you all for joining us on. I guess this is still the Killer Countdown. We're not countdowning anything, but this is our horror news update for what we got going on. We'll do this again a month from now, but next time you'll see us, it'll be myself and Andy Heller counting down the best foreign films of the 2000s.
Are you going to be ready?
No, I'm not ready. Especially with the little wrinkle that we threw in there too. Yeah.
Oh,
do we want to talk about that? Should we talk about that quick?
So we're trying to figure out a way to best play this game.
Yes.
It initially started as best like foreign horror movies
of all time. That's a lot of movies.
And then it sort of turned into best international movies, which sort of meant like it could be from Austria, but it was spoken in English. And then you and I kind of had like a little disagreement about what exactly foreign is or international. And so we've kind of come down to its best international horror movies post 2000. And it's only one film per country is being chosen.
Yes.
So
that's the wild.
That's the wild card of this whole thing. So once a movie from Japan is pulled, no other movie from Japan is available to play. Which,
if it stays,
which really, really throws the game into whack.
I think there's one country I'm looking at it as more of a country thing this time, because you only get one choice from a single country, and there's one country where I think I know what Andy wants to play from it, but I have one that I think needs to be there instead.
We'll talk off air about it.
We'll talk about it. Yeah. I'm very excited about this, because I think we're gonna give some light to some underknown movies, especially if you're only doing one country.
Yeah.
Because it's not gonna be all it's not all gonna be J horror.
And then we can all talk about other great ones that just couldn't be played.
And me and Andy have very different tastes. That's because I think if you and Andy did it, it would be more. I think you'd be more in line with each other.
I don't know.
I don't know either. But
Probably.
you and Andy have very similar tastes.
We do, yeah.
Me and Andy don't.
Yeah.
We've given him. You and I have given him recommendations too on horror, and he hates it.
Yeah, I know. I'm still flabbergasted as not liking The Beyond, but whatever. Andy, if you're listening, what the hell is wrong with you?
Yeah, if we were going to do international, I was pushing for The Beyond to be the number one.
And that's why I needed a clear definition, because to me it's not an international horror movie. But
again, I would have. Yeah, I think Andy's would have skewed towards the Asian horror, and mine would have been like Italian.
I don't know. Yeah,
I think that would have been a lot of fun. We'll talk about it on that episode.
Yeah,
so, that'll be the next time you see us. And Blake, you want to let the people know where they can find us online?
Oh yeah, we are on Twitter, Instagram, all under Backlot 605. We're also on Facebook.
Yes, sir.
We also run the South Dakota Film Community Group on Facebook, where we have posts daily about just anything you want to talk about. If you want to make posts on there, be our guest. Please do. You can also find us on, did I say Instagram already? Yep. All right, you can find all of our podcasts, this and the main show, on, let's see here, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, Spotify, YouTube. That's it.
Good.
Yeah.
And backlot605.com for our latest movie news, reviews, articles, discussions. Reviews are going to start kicking back up here pretty soon. I'm very excited about that. I just reviewed Capone, which I
sort of expected us to talk about that today, since I've heard it's kind of like a horror movie.
We'll talk about it off air.
All right.
It's a wild movie. Go check out that review. By the time this comes out, I would assume Derek will have a review for the kids horror, I guess. Scoop, like dude. I can't wait. I want to hear his thoughts.
I've not heard good stuff about that
movie. I've not either. I'm still excited to watch it as a do-head.
Is that what you guys call it?
I don't know. Sure, do-heads. I'm excited to watch it. I'm watching that to tomorrow after we're done recording this. So I'm excited to watch it. It should be fun.
Very cool.
Where can people find you on Instagram?
You can find me on Instagram at BlakeG5150.
You can find me on Instagram, Casey_the horror guy, reviewing every horror movie I watch, including Scoob. You do-heads. So anyway, this has been the Killer Countdown. Thank you all for listening. Please like, rate, review, subscribe. Do all that stuff that we don't like to
do. All the dirty work.
Do the dirty work. And anyway, until next time, this has been the Killer Countdown, and we'll see you later, do-heads.
Bye.